Also, I realised my microphone was just muted, so they didn't hear that amazing intro. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Scratching Post. We scratched that gaming itch.
Professional stream.
Professional stream. Professional stream. Hello, everyone. Welcome once again. It's that time of the month, a week later than normal, which is the Common Dense Podcast.
Unlike most game companies, we delay our stuff until it is ready to be shown.
Oh shit!
Oh, she went there.
She went there. As once again, I'm of course Ebac, joined as ever by my good friend Doctor on the left, who's joining us for this section instead of Burr. Beneath me, Shadow Phoenix Rider, and to my diagonal, of course, it's Lemming Russ. What a great day! It's May 4th. Happy May 4th, everyone.
Be with you.
A day that should be a public holiday.
It should be.
I've not had. I think it's the first time in many years I've not actually had May 4th off as a day. I tend to book it off because I usually have something Star Wars-y planned for the day. Of course, with COVID, nothing much I can really do. So yeah.
Well, I would have liked to have booked today off, but my work is being shit and still haven't given me the capacity to book days off.
Mm.
Well, that's bollocks.
That is bull.
I've been there for 3 months. Come on.
Yeah, that's a bit bullshit.
So I went to my manager this morning and went, actually, I still can't book holidays and I need the end of June off. Give. And she was like, I'll get in touch. But yeah, you will.
You will. You will, or else.
Yeah, you will. You better.
What's the negativity for today? What's the positive shit we can do?
Yeah, well, let's start off.
One of us is in cosplay.
One of us is in cosplay, with Shadow, of course, turning up in her lovely Jedi robes. I'm, of course, sporting my traditional my Mando evening wear. It is my evening wear.
Very nice.
I was going to say traditional implies long time, but Mandalorian's only, 18 months-ish old at this point, or 2 years. So...
Details.
I'm wearing classic Sith colours. Totally. Yeah, this totally isn't the stuff I was wearing to work.
I'm more Boba Fett, kind of that marshy green, aren't I? So, no, that works.
So... no doubt the topic of May 4th will come later today, but I want to kind of get the news out of the way because let's get the bad stuff out of the way. Then we can let's get the stuff we can moan about out of the way.
Okay.
What's that? All right. So first of all, I want to kind of just go through the news over the last month. But first of all, let's go about GAMs. What GAMs have you been playing recently?
GAMs. Yes. I have been playing The Gunpoint.
I've been watching. Yes,
have been watching me, and I've been knocking guards to their deaths, which I probably shouldn't have been doing, but I've been doing that. And also I have been playing a little more of Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, the complete edition on Switch. I keep meaning to finish that. I have never ever played a Digimon game because they tend to be on the Sony consoles, which I have never had.
Yeah.
So when I saw it appear on the Switch and also PC, I was like, yo, this would be my first. Because I've always kind of liked the Pokemon games, and I've always been like, I want a Pokemon game, but not like the Pokemon game, So I've been interested in like Temtem and stuff like that, and kind of scratching that itch. Actually, I really enjoying it. It's very anime at times. Like it would be right up Lemming's alley at times.
Yeah,
but...
I've played some of at least the early Digimon World games. It does get anime.
Yeah, it is very anime, but I just like collecting creatures, and I have two. Oh, sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. A 200-bit donation from Burst. Want to point that out. Plus, also Burst saying, "I will not be able to watch you. The stream is breaking up too much, so let me just leave this." My apologies, Burr. Hopefully, you can join us. You will join us next time for the podcast, or you can watch us back in the future. Good luck to yourself, buddy.
Yeah, 200 bits from myself in the same. Like, sorry, you can't watch Burr. Hopefully, you'll watch the VOD when you can, and you'll be back. You will be back with us.
Yeah, 100 bits
we need
for me.
We need a Reaper.
We need our Reaper. That's fine. No, that's fine. 100 bits for me, 100 bits for Lemming. Thank you very much for the donations. We do appreciate that. Thank you so much, Burr. You didn't need to, but we appreciate it.
Yes.
So you've been playing Gunpoint and the Digimon games. Let's move over to our guest, Doctor. What have you been playing?
Well, the only thing I've been streaming since you may have noticed a change of scenery is basically Motorsport Manager. I've been doing quite a lot of that over the last 2 or 3 weeks-ish. And yeah, created my my new team, aptly called Shadow Racing, for 2 reasons. One, Shadow Squadron, and B, it's actually a racing team from like the 80s, which obviously I am not old enough to remember. But yeah, that's sort of been going from strength to strength, and I've been trying to make as many managed puns as I can.
Of course.
Nice.
Doing
It's
like,
It's
Rich proud
like
there.
a free shot, right? It's like a free shot, isn't it? Come on.
Yeah.
I your stream. Come on.
Yeah, it's your stream. You gotta do what you want to stream. You gotta do what you want to do on your stream.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I've been doing stream-wise. Been sort of playing the same old kind of stuff, but you know, yeah, I will be back in the full swing of things with my trucking, which say hopefully when I've really sorted the office space out and worked out what the hell I'm doing with it all properly, because it's still apparently a little bit echoey, so
Yeah,
I have to work that one out. But,
well, as furniture goes in, you'll find that, and also foam helps. Foam solves a lot of our problems, it seems, David.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, you will not.
That was the first thing I was thinking about with foam, because obviously, say I've been to 1 or 2 recording studios that, well, say, you know, practice rehearsal studios, so I know that foam does the trick. So
you were
Yeah,
saying you go on, Shadow.
I was going to say, you will not believe how much the sound dampened in this flat as soon as that settee came in. I mean, it dampened it down like a shit ton.
Yeah, there's a soft objects do that quite a lot, and that's why I'm very lucky in the room I am in right now as well. There's a lot of soft stuff to dampen all the noise. Although Elgato did release their own brand of wall-mounted, you know,
I saw that.
it's like
really expensive, though, isn't it? Of course it is.
Oh yeah,
of course, it's Elgato. Of course it is. It's Elgato. Hello, Brazen Chill. Nice to see you in the chat, and I recognise you from the Arkham Knight streams we're doing. Welcome to the welcome to the Common Dense podcast, our monthly podcast where we kind of just discuss densely many topics around the internet, mostly about nerd culture.
Yes.
Although right now we're covering our topics the GAM's been playing. So Motorsport Manager from you, Doctor, and Lemming. What have you been playing? Ace Combat, I imagine.
Yeah, I've been playing a boatload of Ace Combat, obviously. I'm working my way towards finally unlocking everything, which basically just means playing the game until I have the currency.
Fair enough.
I'm more than happy. And I've also recently re-downloaded a game I thought I would never play again, but instead I have World of Tanks.
Ah.
Oh yeah, we're talking about that in the Discordian.
Yeah. You and Doctor can probably talk a lot about that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's I got back in because I'm a weeb. And they released a tank pack for a weeb tank.
Ah.
They gave us the main tank from Girls und Panzer.
Oh wow.
Which even because the way World of Tanks works is you have your tanks. Brilliant. Each of those tanks also has a crew which can level up and gain skills. You can swap that crew between different tanks if you get new tanks and want to keep the crew. But this tank comes with its own crew. The cast of the show.
Oh.
It comes with the main crew of that tank from the show. And they're voiced.
Oh, nice.
They have voice lines from the original voice actors of the Japanese dub of the show. So I heard that. I was like, here's my £40 gift.
take my money. Yeah, I can appreciate that. I can.
The bad side of that is it is £40 for a digital tank.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Fuck you, Wargaming. That pricing is atrocious.
Well, to be fair, that's actually fairly accurate for how things go. Like Star Trek Online, a ship is about £30.
That's bullshit pricing, but they have to make money somehow.
Yeah, but then again, for that you get the ship, all its cosmetic options, plus you get the
£40 did also include decals and like stuff I can put on other tanks.
Yeah. For example, you get in Star Trek Online, you get a universal console, which basically gives you an ability that can go on any ship effectively.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
So that's stuff. And I think it's just the economy of online games is just really high, because unfortunately, it's a high they've got to invest a lot of time and resources into making this
I
stuff.
mean, if you look at how World of Tanks has gone from when it first released to how it is now,
Crazy.
at first released it was like general high-ish, fidelity graphics, and now you look at it, it's just like, holy crap, this is in 1440p, and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
The first 30 seconds of a match, you're looking around you and you see everybody else's tank on your side, and then all of them start their engines bit by bit.
Nice.
Oh, that's
in how long it takes a real tank to kick its engine off. So some of them start early, some of them start late, and you just see billows of smoke as they all kick off one by one. It's like, oh, that's actually really cool.
It sounds really cool.
That does run really cool. So you've been playing World of Tanks. Shadow's been playing some Gunpoint and some Digimon. Cyber Sleuths and Doctor's been playing Motorsport Matters. I've been doing some Arkham Knight.
Yes.
It's a very cozy game for me. One of my favorite games of all time.
And happy game.
With it, one of my happy games. I can play it.
Comfort game.
Yeah, it's a comfort game. That's precisely the way I describe it, Shadow. It's a comfort game. I know very much about the world. I've played it many times over before. And with all that's going on in my life, I wanted something a bit more stable going on. Although my regular kind of gaming will return to, like, I plan to return to Symphony of the Night once that's over. And of course, continue through the rest of my backlog as things go on my journey to get my new computer, which is hopefully in the month. Right, so that's what we've been playing this month. I have been playing something else, but I'll get to that as it ties into one of our topics, news. So let's cover the news within the gaming sphere. Lonely Silence Masingo, please forgive him. Yes, indeed. So current topic is news. So first one, I think let's start off with something positive. The completion of 10th year anniversary. 10 years of the completionist.
Dang!
It does not feel like 10 years.
Not feel like 10. No.
It does not feel like 10 years.
Old.
Gerard has been banging them out for 10 long years with him and his team, of course.
Through thick and thin.
Through thick and thin. And there's been some thick and there's been some thin. Let's put it that way. I know there's been some controversy around Gerard. I personally don't know whether or not what happened. Who cares? No one can really ever know, as it's all private.
That's between them.
Yes. And we are talking about, Brad or whatever the situation was regarding them. Point is, that was all private. We will never know what happened. Nor do we need to know, really.
Yeah.
The point is, he is producing content. He's doing a fine job, in my opinion. I always watch his show every single time he releases a video. And if I don't watch every single time, it creates a nice backlog for me to run through on a down day. I will say that.
Yeah. And I think me and Lemming, we've met him at CoxCon, and he's just like the nicest dude. Like,
he really is.
Really
I can
nice
believe
dude.
that. Gerard does strike me as a very very nice guy.
I mean, when it comes to
he's like, how genuine he is in his videos. He is the same guy.
Yeah,
pretty much.
It's like Gerard is literally the only guest. CoxCon. I've been to every CoxCon. Gerard is the only guest I've had my photo taken with.
Really?
Because I waited in line for 2 hours to shake Tall Biscuit's hand and give Jesse and Dodger a hug. That's all I wanted from them. I don't really do photo ops. I don't do any of that stuff, even though I like taking photos with my rather nice camera over there. But Gerard was the one who, at the end of, just before one of the last panels that he was involved with, went in front of the stage where I was already sitting waiting for the next panel and said, look, hi guys, you all know who I am. Microphone, hi guys, you know who I am. If any of you haven't had a photo op yet, come get one.
That's good.
So I was like,
because those lines were really bad at times.
Oh, I can imagine.
If you didn't get at the start, you were waiting for ages.
So I pulled my camera out of my bag, gave it to my friend, and went up and said, yeah, man, only photo I've taken at CoxCon is me and Gerard just,
Oh,
so
that's
nice.
Sweet.
And that's, shows how much of a just down to earth for the view, for the fans guy he is. And he went up in front of the audience. There wasn't much of an audience there, but he went up in front of the stage and went, "Come get one. Here I am." And he signed my mate's Big Bad Boss's album, which was
Oh my god, yes.
Nice.
I need to get that.
Yeah, I've got that album. That's a great album.
a
So yeah,
digital copy. Very
kind
good
of-
album.
I'll definitely be looking. I'm definitely looking at acquiring the book that he's doing. Oh, don't know what happened there. My apologies. Can you still hear me? Can you still hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
I hear you.
yeah,
We still hear you now. You just went out for like a second.
Yeah, I don't know why that occurred like that.
We're getting
I
cursed by
something in the board.
technology today.
Disappeared into the ether. Okay,
Oh,
so
no,
that's
no.
that. Let's move on to some things that were announced over time. Space Jam 2 trailer came out. Anyone see it?
Yay!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it, but I know it exists.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen it. It looks weird.
It
Not-
really- it's just like this is for a start. This is supposed to be a kids, or at least a family movie. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
this is supposed to be a family movie. Why
Okay.
the fuck are there references to A Clockwork Orange in there?
I mean, to be fair, don't forget it's a family movie. That means that there are adults who would go and see that film who would know the references.
Well,
Oh yeah. To briefly go back to Gerard for a second, what Burr said in the chat. One girl left a phone at his stand at the last CoxCon, and he just asked people to watch it for him, and ran to look for her and gave her phone back.
Wow.
That's how
What a nice
Gerard
guy.
did.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember. There's been times at CoxCon where people have lost stuff, and they've actually gone on to like the main Twitter channel to say, "Yo, there's a thing here. Do you have the thing?"
I'm just waving.
You
Hello,
like it?
Drifting.
Hi, Drifting.
Family pictures, what she said. And Jenna, hello, Jenna. Hello.
Hello.
Everyone's in here today. Yeah, welcome to the Commandant's
Yes,
podcast, where we
fantastic.
discuss densely the news that go on in the monthly sphere. Generally,
Hello.
say good. Ah, say great things.
Just said it in the chat.
So yeah, the Space Jam trailer looks really weird. I'm interested. Don't get me wrong. Although there is a bit of Uncanny Valley. Speaking of Uncanny Valley, I do have to mention it, which is the weirdest thing I've seen this month: the eye webcam.
The eye webcam.
Have you guys not seen this thing? It is a
No.
webcam that looks like a person's eye.
Oh yes, I've seen that actually.
As in-
That's fucking freaky. I don't like it.
It is freaky as hell, and it blinks at you. It's like,
No!
I don't want that thing looking at me.
Oh, why?
No, I just googled it and I thought it would just be like an eyeball. No, it's the
It's a full area. It's the full
Yeah.
kind of iris area with the lashes and the eyeball. And I'm thinking, that thing's going to wink at me and I'm not going to like it. You know,
No, I don't like this.
No. I like my webcam. It's a nice webcam. It's not ideal, but it sits right there. And what it doesn't do is blink at me.
Yeah, who would that? But think about it. Would it be more weird if it didn't blink?
That is an interesting question. Would you? To be fair, Shadow, I don't want a replica of a human eye area above my monitor. And it's one of those things where I think, who made this, and did they ever stop to think, should they make this?
Oh, we lost the stream for a second.
Simple answer there, El. I think we can work out who created that. It's Rolls from Monsters Inc. Always watching.
Always watching Wazowski.
one thing I like about the getting back onto the Space Jam 2 thing. I do like that they've called the bad guys team the Goon Squad.
Yeah,
That's a nice play on Toon Squad.
yeah, that's great. That is really nice.
Good comedy. That's a classic right there.
Burst doesn't want that thing. It might be a way for me to actually keep trying eye contact with the camera. Oh, thank you, Jenna. I do appreciate you liking my Roz, my Roz impression. It's hell on the throat.
It is.
Yeah, it does.
It's a lot along the same. It's along the same veins of trying to do Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
I've never been able to pull off Gollum.
Yeah, my
I
Zerg,
can't do
my
both.
Zerg voice is the worst.
Although, if you want to hear us do crazy voices, we're actually starting a new show on Wednesdays. Not this Wednesday, next Wednesday, which hopefully next Wednesday, which is the Shadow Squadron does Ace Attorney, which that's gonna be
We do lore.
fantastic.
It's Shadow. It's Shadow Phoenix, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, Shadow Phoenix Right is what we're calling it. Yes, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I can't wait. We're going to do Apollo Justice as the starting game,
Oh, dear.
and maybe we'll do more. Doctor's not in on it, although if he did want to change his mind on that, I wouldn't complain. But we have Divot and
you have-
Burr on it.
If you have a character lined up, the only problem is the next sort of few weeks anyway. Wednesdays are
Yeah.
going to be a no-go.
Yeah,
so-
it's fine. I appreciate that.
Jenna, if you want to hear Zerg, we require more minerals,
Fair.
which I can only do once.
We must
Ow.
construct additional pylons.
What's the Terran one?
We require more Vespine gas.
Okay.
Oh, no, the Terran lines.
Let's transition into some Marvel news. We've of course had Falcon the Winter Soldier air over the last few weeks, and Doctor showing off his prize there.
We might need spoilers for this one.
Oh yes, I'm going to put up the spoiler alert. I don't have the alert siren prepared, but I will put it up.
Spoiler alert is in the wrong place. It's all right, guys. It's fixed.
Spoiler alert. Falcon
Come on.
and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, I should have written a spoiler thing down and then I could hold it up, but never mind.
There we go.
That's
I'll make that text a bit smaller. Basically,
Or as I've been inadvertently called it Bucky and the Winter Soldier, and I realised the same bloody person. So of course, it doesn't quite work, does it?
yeah. So first of all, what do we all think of the show?
Loved it.
I haven't seen it, so
That's
I'm
fine.
going to sit this one out.
Fair enough. David, you're the big Captain America fan.
I think for me, it was one of those things. I think the first maybe episode or so, it felt like a it felt a bit like a sort of like a
Well, is
slow
that not good
burn.
enough? Is that not good enough up there?
I'm sorry.
Fair enough. Carry on. Carry on.
But say the first sort of episode kind of felt a bit sort of slow, but it was kind of like nice at the same time. You know, sorting the events out of Endgame, which had to be resolved somehow.
To be fair, the talk about I'm not being mean to you. The whole idea about it being slow is a common criticism I've heard about the Marvel. I actually like that they're slow, and that they take time to build up. And they don't, because it allows them to get into. Let's face it. The entire series is longer than a movie would be.
Yeah.
And that's for WandaVision and also for the Winter Soldier, individually. So they can get into the nitty-gritty. They can get into the more deeper side of things, which I think is good. That they can, they don't have to rush through things. They can deal with Fallout. And I think that's nice to have the movies be these big epic spectacles, and these TV shows be a bit smaller on scale, still epic in their own way, but exploring a more personal connection with these characters.
Yeah, it's like the movies are good for the spectacle, for
Yes.
the boom, the flair. But what the series give us is the character.
Yeah. I think if
Yeah.
you've got that time,
Linking between the movies, it's giving us the what happens beyond the end point of Endgame, and unlocking the updated world, as it were. We have a new map. Look, it's updated from the old one. It's like World of Warcraft ports Cataclysm. That whole map change. But there's all sorts of changes that have happened. So what we're going to do, we're going to take you into it slowly. Here's a series, 6 episodes. Enjoy.
yeah. And I think if you've got that time to explore things that you couldn't in a movie, it would be rude not to.
I
Yeah, I
agree.
mean, what was the first movie Falcon was introduced in?
It was Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier.
Yeah, it was the Winter Soldier. That was
Yeah,
a fair
it was,
while
yeah.
ago now.
Mm.
It wasn't until this series we saw his family.
2013, 14.
That's true. Yeah, we didn't see his family until this.
We
Yeah.
didn't get the character background for Falcon the entire way through up until this movie. This series. That's important.
That's very important. I agree.
Whereas what was it Age of Ultron or one of the early ones, we saw Hawkeye's family background and then
Yeah, it's Hawkeye.
reappeared in Infinity War, and it's like, you missed out sort of some of that personal connection, but it's nice they've been able to go full circle.
I agree with Burr. Not enough Zemo. Zemo was a great thing that appeared in the series, and I think it's nice. I like that they didn't kill him. I like
Yes.
that they didn't just put the exclamation point on him and get rid of him. He can come back. And I think
Yeah.
there's too many villains that they're like, okay, kill them. But the thing is, if you kill them, they can't come back. And
Mhm.
part of the
Mhm.
allure of comics is that villains do often come back. You know,
I mean, the thing is, one thing I'll say good about Marvel is they haven't retconned a lot of stuff.
yes.
As the series has progressed, they haven't gone back on a few things. They've used some of the things they have retconned as a fun plot device to keep things going, such as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm.
So, didn't he die in Avengers?
He
Like,
did.
yeah, he's running
I
the
got
team now.
better.
Yeah.
But they made that a central plot point in one of the early series of that. So
Yeah, I
they
think it was
wove
like
it
the
in.
second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they have basically just like retconned his entire thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, these things, and to be fair, that's very comic books in many ways.
Exactly. But they
I-
haven't done it.
That's true.
Mm.
They haven't overdone it. I
Mm.
like that we finally have Sam as Captain America. In what is the actual costume, effectively, for him, which is effectively the mix of Falcon and Captain
Yes.
America. Exactly,
That was-
almost taken from the pages of the comics.
Now, I've only got one problem with that costume,
Go on.
and that's the toy.
Oh, okay.
They made a toy of the new Captain America Falcon with the shield and the full get-up. There's one problem, toy makers. Where are the wings?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a bit of a fuck
Ah.
up.
No fucking wings!
See, now I'm thinking that
You
someone's.
can't just wing this.
Yeah, I like to think that someone like at a toy plant say, look at this fantastic toy. It's in production right now. There are 2 million minutes ready to ship.
Doctor got it.
Yeah, and it's like,
I've spent so long with you on some of
Yeah.
Elliot's Hitman streams because if you wouldn't say it, I would.
yeah, and then
God.
so I was like, yeah, where are the wings? Yeah,
That's not a detail you can just ignore.
yeah,
It's £20.
Yeah, the one thing that I would take from it though is the fact of like the whole series, how Sam was so conflicted
Mm.
about taking the shield
Yeah.
and actually using it. But I think the fact that
Well, that's his growth as a
that
character.
Mhm.
but then as Walker picked it up and was kind of giving it a bad reputation, it's like, that's not what it was there for. It's a symbol, of Cap. It's not being used in what he envisages as the right way.
Mhm.
And it's sort of nice how, like, say, over the whole sort of like series, you started to embrace that more.
No, I agree.
And you can sort of like potentially half feel, say, from that really, really early bit of like how Sam and Bucky were going to interact over that, bearing in mind the whole setup on how Sam got the shield in the first place. Yeah, how he got given it in the first place was kind of like, Bucky turning to him and going, you can have it. It's
Yeah.
That's kind of his thing though. He's still not got over all the stick of being the Winter Soldier in his mind though, has he? That's the
Yeah,
whole.
that's the whole
that's his whole
psychological aspect,
get-up.
which that's a great storyline for him. I don't want to take too long on Winter Soldier because but I'm very optimistic about the future of Marvel TV shows, which we'll get onto in a bit as well. Speaking of, let's finally wrap up. Let's move on to another Marvel topic, which is Black Widow.
Mhm.
Yay! Removing the spoiler alert.
Yeah, we're done. We're done. Okay, so yeah, the next new topic I want to touch is Black Widow. Finally has a fucking release date. It's like
When is
It
that
took
released?
him how long?
Well, it's about time.
I think that film should have come out last year, Shadow.
Hmm.
That's how
What,
long.
before she came? Before what happened in some of the films?
Oh well, the continuity wise,
No.
it was supposed to come out before that film, but it was shot after the. Yeah, it's one of those things where they do a flashback thing. But
Okay.
it's still really weird to me how. Why didn't they just bite the bullet and just release it on digital platforms? If I'm honest,
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me feels like they wanted it to be this big old grand spectacle. It's like, oh, Black Widow and her first, solo movie. And I get it. But the wait's been so long, I'm like, do I still care? And I don't know if I
that's
do.
unfortunate with everything that's been going on. That's the thing. It's the wait and anticipation is long gone. It's it's kind of lost its kind of air a little bit, so to speak. But
Drifting nailed
it's
it.
still going to be good.
Drifting
Yeah,
nailed it.
nailed it.
Should have come way sooner. She's got a film after she's dead. You know?
Yeah.
You know, we kind of know. We kind of know the end point right at this point, and I know that's kind of a bad criticism because even though you know where the character's going to end, you can still tell interesting stories with the character. Like we don't know much. She's one of the Marvel characters we don't know barely anything about where she started. We know a teeny bit about the Red Room, and that's about it. So the film's going to explore that. So I'm looking forward to that aspect. And I am actually really excited for this because we got Taskmaster and everyone. Yeah, I'm all in.
I like Taskmaster. He's an interesting breed.
I'm also wondering how they're going to pull off his abilities in the more realistic world of the MCU, because his abilities are just
insane
in the comics.
Yeah, in his abilities, if used the right way, are completely overpowered.
And Wanda is not.
I mean, Wanda has the ability to end the universe if she thinks it.
Wanda has magic, so you can kind of be like, it's magic. But with Taskmaster, how can you explain a guy who can just see someone and then replicate that through muscle memory that he's not done?
Endemic memory?
Potentially, but then perfectly. That's the thing. He can see an Olympic archer throw, basically draw a string and throw a bow, and suddenly he can shoot a bow like an Olympic archer.
I don't know. It still sounds possible to me.
Fair enough. WandaVision's a great series. You should go watch it. Unless you've already watched it, in which case, fantastic.
I really do. I need to actually catch up on that. But work and streaming and oh my god, I need time to myself.
So much to do and so little
much
time.
to do. And finally, of course, with Falcon the Winter Soldier wrapping up, we've got to look forward to Loki, which I am super excited for.
I'm interested how it's going to play out.
Well, does that mean you're low-key excited for it?
Oh!
Oh my god!
To be fair, that's what we played out.
Shadow 1, Doctor 1. You knew it as you were getting yourself into, Rebag.
Yeah.
But I love Loki. He just he's such a weird, interesting character. He's only got one thing in life. The Tesseract means everything.
Well, it's not just that; it's that he cause havoc. That's what he does. He's just trying to live.
The whole point.
And
he's chaotic.
Yeah.
Plus, this is going to introduce the time continuity. So whatever it is, the kind of the weird, which I like how Marvel, the MCU is like, okay, we've had Iron Man, we've had all this weird stuff. Now let's start doing the batshit crazy stuff. Let's do the Eternals. Let's do the Time Enforcement Agency. Let's do the actual Mandarin in Xi-Chang and the Ten Rings. It's like, yes, I'm on board, Marvel.
Slowly turning the heat up on the pan, aren't they?
Marvel, show me the crazy, batshit crazy stuff. I want to see Fing Fang Foom. I want to see a fucking dragon, I
want to see a fucking dragon. Come on.
I think it's one of those things, though, that you think when Marvel started, they weren't going to ever do the batshit crazy stuff because they wanted to get people on board. But I think now they, from all the different films, and now you say, obviously, the popularity of, like, okay, they would announce all this stuff before the announcement of, the series on Disney Plus. It's kind of one of those things that they can explore those weird kind of things because they've touched on it with, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel. They've had the opportunities to kind of sort of put a little bit of, kind of strangeness, no pun intended,
I was going to bring up
already on the table.
That was a bit out there at times.
What was that?
I was actually going to bring up Doctor Strange on that because how crazy
that was still phase 2 though, and at the beginning, the most outrageous film we got in the early days of Marvel was Thor.
Yeah.
Which hammer, lightning and all that lot.
Thor: The Dark World is kind of probably like the most craziest one.
Yeah, Thor: Dark World, which people tend to forget, and probably rightfully so.
Polar Knights in my chat saying,
oh god,
sweet
kill me
Jesus,
now.
Evolution of being. So thanks for that.
Thor Ragnarok is a great film. To be fair, the people I noticed there's been a lot of turnaround lately in terms of there's a lot of criticism heading towards the MCU with a case of it's too old, it's going on, it's too long, and it's not interesting. I personally like if they keep churning out films that are fun, I don't care. You know, they're fun. They're fun.
Yeah, they are entertaining and they are ceaselessly entertaining. None of those movies have been below a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Just let people enjoy what they enjoy.
Also the big thing about it as well. If you look at DC and Marvel alongside each other, now I'm going to admit I am not the biggest fan of DC, so
That's fine.
Whereas you got Marvel with like say you could got like the Avengers as a block, you've got the Guardians as a block, you've got Magic and Mischief if you want to put that in a block. You've got so many different things you can nip in and nip out. There's not much outside of like say as far as I would go like Justice League, Batman, Superman. They've got such a in mind. Obviously the War of the Light stuff, but it's that they haven't got too many different areas they can go. But say they can like pick and choose films and do stuff all over the place, and it's not you're not going to have it like here's all our stuff for that and go all in on one character or one team or whatever.
Just want to say, May 4th be with you, Jenna. I just see that in there. Fantastic. We are celebrating May 4th here. And once again, drifting, hitting the nail, back smack on the head with a lightsaber. In saying that the MCU allows for fun. However, DC is still suffering from the success of The Dark Knight, and I completely agree. The Dark Knight was such a grounded movie that DC then felt like every one of the movies had to be grounded and gritty.
Yeah,
and when I saw
really depressing and angry.
And when I saw The Man of Steel and I saw this depressing Superman, it's like, that's not Superman.
Superman's not supposed to be depressing. And in fairness, even though Batman's quite noir, I don't think he's supposed to be depressing either. Because I think they tilted too hard into the I'm going to be dark and gritty and angry and just really boring. It's just like, yeah, but there's humanity in Batman as well.
There is humanity, and I don't think there's an issue with that. They definitely went a bit too far in Batman vs Superman in that respect. More about his kindness kind of thing. Yeah, that's the thing. I do wish they would, touch on that more. And I think they did the right thing in having Batman and Superman be their main focus, but you then had to. They tried to leap before they could even walk through this film. They had Justice League planned out, and they were 2-3 movies in, and it's like no. You had to let this thing build a little bit.
At least the first. Oh, sorry, Lemming.
No. I'm just saying one thing about DC heroes is yes, they're super powered, but the one thing, in my opinion, that Marvel has over them is their heroes, or at least a lot of their heroes, are relatable.
Mm-hmm.
Because Batman, yes, look, everyone enjoys watching Batman do stuff, but he's a billionaire with all this ability that he's trained to do, and not a lot of weaknesses, all things considered. And Superman, he's Superman. What's his weakness? A green rock. Not a lot of humanity there.
And magic.
Well, and magic, but I will actually counterpoint that. I think that's a bit unfair. I think, and I'm coming from someone who reads both Marvel and DC. People tend to do that with DC and say their character's not relatable. That's because they pull back and look at the overarching thing, which is he's a billionaire. How can I relate to that? So is Tony Stark.
I was going to say,
Tony Stark is a billionaire.
Batman, Tony Stark, Superman, Cap.
Stark in my in the whole. Marvel side of things, but he has a very, very human weakness. He's always a moment away from death.
And also an alcoholic sometimes.
But if you look at the rest of Marvel's lineup, Spider-Man. Everyone knows what it feels like to be a teenage out of water.
Spider-Man's the most relatable one. I will say Batman is relatable in many ways because of the feeling that you were wronged. And I think because loss is something which everyone deals with, and you can relate to the fact that he had his parents taken from him.
Oh yeah, without
and
doubt.
You can understand why he'd be angry at people in society for doing that led to that problem, which is what led to him dressing up like a bat. And I do.
I'm saying what I'm saying as somebody who enjoys both DC and Marvel. But at the same time, Marvel has characters I can actually relate with on a more like spiritual or emotional level.
People also level that criticism at Superman, and I think I used to believe the same way, and then I actually started reading Superman, and I actually started to realize actually it's more relatable than I think. It's about being an outcast. It's about being an outcast, and no one knows you're an outcast, and how to live with the fact that you're the last remaining person of your species. You have to be careful what you do because one temper tantrum, and you could bust a wall through. If you're not careful when you're punching someone, you could break someone's jaw or even kill them. And it's also a fact that one of the best things they did for Superman in the comic books is make him a father. That bringing Jonathan Kent into things, aka the younger Kent, actually made a very interesting. It made Superman a father and made him, because the weakness of Superman is that he's compassionate. It's just compassion that's his weakness. And that's what I've always enjoyed about it. But that's getting really deep into a conversation that we weren't really supposed to have.
I'm just gonna say that Drifty's got the scalding hot takes tonight.
So really.
Yeah, the most relatable DC character is Dr. Freeze.
I mean, Mr. Freeze, I mean, you can relate to that. I mean, a guy who literally, he was trying to save his wife. He got screwed over by a CEO who actually resulted in him having to walk around in a cryogenic suit. The guy was screwed.
Yeah, and his wife's dying.
His wife's dying,
What would you do for family? For your, she's essentially his family.
The only reason he was in that suit is because someone basically cut his funding, and he got angry and tried to stop them, as in please don't shut her down. And then the CEO shut down the thing by accident and caused the entire accident that gave Mr. Freeze his condition. So the guy not only tried to kill your wife, but also nearly killed you.
Yeah, that's somewhat justifiable in being annoyed.
Yeah.
And Batman, Bert makes a good point. Batman is relatable also for how he's pushing people away for their own good and what the isolation does to him and how he tries to keep it at bay. Yeah. He's an introvert. He's the ultimate introvert.
I mean, at the end of the day, all of these characters have lasted generations at this point. Nothing we say is going to stop them from being great characters.
Superman, I think, celebrated 100 years? Must be 100 years or something. I know it's quite a few. Quite a few.
It was longer than I've been alive.
A lot longer.
Yeah.
I know that he celebrated 1,000 issues earlier this year. 1938. So he's not 100 years old yet, but it's getting close.
He's getting there.
Tuning in about 17 years.
Don't say that. I'm already getting grey hair.
Right, let's move on from Marvel on to back to GAM related news. I'm gonna quickly cover this. The PS developers were not warned about the closing down of the PlayStation Network. That sucks. Good thing then the PlayStation Network is not actually closing down anymore.
Yeah, we actually got mad enough and made enough memes that they went, okay, maybe not then.
Yeah.
Either that or the sheer amount of people who was buying stuff off the old stores made them realize, oh wait, we can actually still make money. Keep it open.
So PlayStation 180 being the title of this moment, because Sony do a 180 in their getting the store back up, and now there is still the issue of how long is this going to be for.
Yeah, because Jack Ryder has been. Is it Jack Ryder? His name?
No, it's not. I think
I don't know where I got that name from.
You're thinking of Jack Ryder, the DC DC character.
I don't know. He's watching your Arkham Knight streams. Come on.
I'm also having flashbacks to like when I used to watch WWE with Zack Ryder.
Yeah,
but
it's Jim Ryan.
Jim Ryan. That is close enough.
Jim Ryan is
not that one.
Jim Ryan is a problem for Sony, and I say this as someone who
it's just a problem.
Is a problem. And I say this as someone who I've owned every single PlayStation. I had a PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation Portable, PlayStation Vita, and Now, hopefully,
Maybe a
getting
5.
maybe
in
a
the-
5
in
if I can fucking find one. But it's a problem because him and Sony seem to be so focused on the future, new games. No one cares about old shit. That they
He's actually said as much.
pretty much. He said as much. No one cares about old games, and that's maybe true for the general wider audience. But there is the issue of preservation, which we discussed last time on the podcast, which is going to rear its ugly head eventually. And Little Big Planet has been unplayable for the last 2 months.
Yeah, as a personal thing, I've actually had to put like 2 games to bed because I just can't play them. One because I've lost the CD key, and the other one just because it's too old and my current Windows 10 is just too powerful. It's just like I can't play this game. Like, great. So I can't play this game at all.
I'm not saying no one cares about our older games drifting. What I'm saying is that the general audience, the wider audience, they don't care. They just want to play their Call of Duties, their new games, whatever. They want to absorb the content. That's fine. The more kind of hobbyist gamers tend to sometimes look back at the past with nostalgia quite a lot.
Mhm.
And unfortunately,
Weird comes to mind.
Yes.
and unfortunately, it's becoming more and more difficult to play older games. In fact, strangely, the 3DS has had a the DS has had a boom in its sales recently. I've got
Really?
I've got Ghost Trick up on my shoulder. Out of my shelf right over there, which I sorted out of my DS games the other day. Now, about a year ago, I could probably sell that for 20 quid. I can get 100 quid for that on eBay right now.
Really?
Yeah, not
Holy
brand new.
shit.
I get 100 quid for it right now. That's because for some reason people are buying up these 3DS games and DS games. So
Well, there's also a thing is that just sometimes you just want to go back to your old games.
You do.
you played.
I regret trading a lot of my old PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 games, and now I've got a shelf empty, devoid of PlayStation 3 games. I've still got some.
Yeah, I traded in a lot of my GameCube games, and I can't find them for love nor money.
Which you would gladly pay someone money if you could find them.
I really want Rogue Squadron back. Please give it back.
I mean, I've played. You know, Michelle. I've been playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night before I was playing Arkham Knight. Really enjoying that. I would have never played that if it wasn't for the Konami collection, because otherwise I had to dish out 500 or so quid for a brand new copy of Symphony of the Night on PlayStation.
And it's beautiful.
What was the game that wouldn't run on your machine, Shadow?
Armies of Exigo. EXIGO. It's basically EA's version of Warcraft 3 / StarCraft.
And it won't run on modern PCs.
Nope. Not at all.
And
Not even with the patch.
Yeah, I was looking at it and just like, well, that's well beyond DOS, so a DOS emulator won't run that.
I'd probably need a virtual PC or something.
Thing is, drifting. It's not the PlayStation 4 store that's closed down. It's the PlayStation 3, so it is a generation behind. It's not like right, PlayStation 5's out, shut down the PS4 store. The question is, because the PlayStation 4 was is well into the generation of digital releases, and I've got a lot of digital stuff on my PlayStation. I'll tell you that now. What happens when they decide to say, right, PlayStation 4 store is going offline?
Where do they go?
Where do they go?
Yeah.
Do you own them still?
In 20 years, will I still be able to play those games? Some argue, and I do believe that you should say yes. Digital releases is an entirely thing. The problem is, drifting. Even physical doesn't save you because discs are starting to rot.
Yep.
And also, if you get sorry, Doctor, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was going to say it gets you onto the whole similar iTunes debate.
Yes, well, that's basically what it is. The iTunes debate. Do you actually own it? And there's a lot of debate around that, and I think the law is going to have to catch up at some point.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I'm just going to say, eventually, we're going to have to tackle the whole idea of preservation. It's getting harder. It's getting harder and harder to find components to keep older consoles going now.
Tell me about it, my dude.
You've got a Game Boy Advance that's on its last legs, I believe, haven't you?
Yep. No, I can actually show somebody who's actually even more on her last legs.
Oh,
who has to be kept,
yeah, your
has to be
3DS.
kept in here.
Your no, it wasn't your 3DS. It was your DS, wasn't it?
See this?
Yeah, the original DS.
Really close. Have to open up like.
Gentle, gentle. Look at that.
Yeah,
Oh.
good.
Oh.
Yeah, she's.
I don't think
she's
the patient is going to make it, Doctor.
She has to live in here. She has to live in here now to keep her safe, and I can't. I would have to. Well, once the top screen comes off, the only thing she can play then are just GBA games. That will be her. That will be her life.
We did a whole topic on this last time about how it's important for the next generation to be able to look back. I'm only just starting to notice what gems are. I played Super Metroid for the first time last year, and that was a gem of a game. But I can't play any other games because they're not out on there's no way for me to buy them, bar getting an actual copy of the cartridge and finding a SNES somewhere or a NES, and that gets really expensive. I think companies should take a more proactive approach or outsource the preservation of games.
Yeah.
Or not bitch so much about emulation.
Yeah.
To be utterly frank.
Yeah. To briefly touch back on like the problems with physical media, it's not just the discs rotting. It's when you getting thumbprints on them, and also if you've got CD keys like stickers attached in, as I found out, or in little slips of paper, you lose that paper, you're shit out of luck, boy. And you have to start using CD key generators, and of course somebody will say, "Well, that's illegal. Why are you doing that?" It's just like,
I have the
it's
disc.
for this game. I have actually paid money for it. I just can't play it because I can't get past the copy protection.
Yeah,
One thing I always love is the fact that copy protection isn't a new thing.
No,
it's not.
Been around since the start of gaming, really. Because I remember, and I still, have it. A game I used to play on DOS. That's how old I am. Dune 2 by Westwood Studios. It had DRM built in.
Yes.
In that after every few levels, your mentat, your advisor, would ask you a question. And that question was specific to a page in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And if you answered it wrong, it would shut the game. So if you didn't have the book, you didn't have a genuine copy, you were locked out. Bye.
Yeah. And also and also there's the shitty DRM of the original Spore game, which could only allow 3 activations before it was like, nope. That's why I have 2 copies of Spore at home, because I
Why did you just get a Steam version of Spore?
This was before Steam existed, my dude.
Okay, true.
But yeah, it's digital, shutting down digital stores, specifically for Sony, seems a little backwards, especially when people always remember Sony bagging Xbox when it comes to loaning people games.
I remember that.
Oh, we didn't talk about this, did we? Because it came out after we did our whole discussion. The time bomb that is the PlayStation.
But taking us back to before all this, Sony did the whole, this is how you loan your friend a Sony game. And then he handed over the, Sony was basically saying digital only is a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
They were pandering to the people who like buying discs, pre-owned games, etc.
Yeah,
they were pandering to that whole thing.
That was Xbox One.
Yeah, Xbox. The Xbox One was originally supposed to be digital only.
Yeah.
It was after the fans raged that they added the disc.
It wasn't digital only. They had a disc version. It was the whole idea.
It was pre-owned, wasn't it?
No, it was. You couldn't play pre-owned games, and also you couldn't play. Always online, I believe, as well.
But keeping in mind that Sony was actually the first console producer to produce a digital download only console.
Yes.
The PlayStation Portable.
PSP Go. No disc tray in this one.
Yep.
This is digital download only via the store.
And now it's a brick.
Yeah. If that store shuts, this is fucked.
Yep. It's useless. And that is a concern. And I'm not saying they should continue to manufacture these things. Absolutely not. But what they need to do is create a way for gamers to easily access that, or just accept that emulation is going to be a thing and even buy into that and say, okay, well, here's our official emulator, which you can play on PC. Here's our official emulator store, which you can buy games on PC, and do it that way. I feel that's
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo. Yeah, Nintendo. Stop fucking bitching about it.
Oh snap! But yeah, so there are ways of us
We're never
maintaining
gonna get sponsored by them.
classic games. There are many ways of us not letting these things consign to oblivion, like a lot of games companies are doing. Like, oh, that game is no longer selling, into the trash.
Well,
Don't care about it.
Shadow, what's your favorite game?
At the moment,
Just no favorite game without thinking. Go favorite game.
Mass Effect 2, I guess.
Mass Effect 2. Right. In 20 years, someone says to you, you can't play Mass Effect 2.
Well,
Ever again.
Yeah, ever again. Ever again.
I might kill a man.
The other thing is that's the potential
Guys.
future you're facing.
Guys, hide. She's turning to the dark side. Run. She's
No,
just a man, so there's 3 of us. That's a fair shot, right?
Oh, let me point out that's an entirely justifiable murder. That's entirely under the purview of Jedi.
No, I don't think I'm supposed to kill people. But no, let me take this actually totally seriously. Yeah, that genuinely fucking sucks. To be honest, there are some games I can't play now anyway,
Yeah.
just GBA games, and
We're already
there's
facing it.
Yeah, the because I feel the pang sometimes. Like I want to go back, and I know I can't, and it's just, what do I do?
I mean, right now,
it's not
I
like
can't
grief or
play
anything,
my
but
favorite
it's
game.
empty. Yeah.
I can't play my favorite game, Metal Gear Solid, the original. I want to go back and replay it.
Yeah.
But the only way I can do it is to either buy a PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 and run it through that, or buy a GameCube and play Twin Snakes.
Have fun getting hold of a GameCube, mate.
Exactly.
Have fun getting hold of
Because
either of those.
They've released it on PC. Metal Gear Solid is on GOG. The port is balked.
Oh,
Much like every other port, the controls are virtually impossible.
Jesus Christ.
And I bought it, I downloaded it, I can't play it. I played Metal Gear Solid 2 instead because the port is actually good.
It's not
You
like
can rebind the... It's good.
It's not often that GOG balk it. I will say that.
No.
But they did.
I know
It
they
will- it is
popular at the beginning as well, but
It isn't the first port that's been balked, though, because I have it on this as well.
Ooh.
The port is completely unplayable. There have been years of Sony PlayStation forum posts asking them to fix the port, and they just never have.
Question for
It's
Drifting.
saying there's problems, and they've never fixed it.
Drifting says, question for debate. Are remakes of said classics for newer systems a valid solution? I think we should save that for like an end of topic discussion, because don't forget we are doing the news. But I think let's put a pin in that. And we'll come back to that in our topic.
Drifting, why weren't you here the last podcast?
Yeah. To be fair, I'm glad we've got people in our chat now talking about stuff.
Yeah.
I wasn't, because I'm the guest, so I wasn't. So
That's fine. So let's kind of blast through this news. So, Days Gone lead designer had a hot take.
You could say it was a hot take.
He had a hot take that might as well have been a grenade thrown into the room, which was, quote, "Don't complain if there's no sequel if you didn't buy it at full price."
Oh, buddy.
yeah,
That was a take as cold as no.
That was.
Oh no! Oh no!
Let's see. Number one, Mr. Developer, sir. Well, I respect you for what you do in the industry. You make us things to enjoy. Wonderful.
Yes.
But number one, Days Gone is an adventure survival horror video game. What you may not realize is that's niche.
Yeah, and it's also zombies, and unfortunately it's
Overdone.
on the tail end of that.
Zombies are on the way out. It's a survival horror game, which is a niche genre at this point, and you're complaining that people didn't buy it.
Ooh.
Right.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I disagree with him quite vehemently. As someone, you should be able to pay whatever you want for the game. I mean, you not pay what you want. You know, if you want to wait for a game on sale, that's your choice. Buying a game at full price.
Nintendo store.
Well, unless you're buying a Nintendo game, in which case your option for Nintendo is buy her at full price or tough. Now,
or you wait for the stars to align and a sale to happen.
Video games are a depreciative market.
they are.
When they come out, if you want to play the game at release, you buy it at full price. When it comes out, when it's new, slowly, or if in the case of FIFA titles, quickly depreciate in value.
Whoa, dear me! Ring a ding! We've got a fight going on here.
In the world,
I'm not part of this.
go to any game store in the world and look at the F section.
Yeah, I know.
And then look at the latest FIFA is full price. Last year's FIFA is at least half that.
Stop bullying, Doctor.
I think sports games in general, because I've seen sports games in general, because I've seen it with the WWE games. Sorry, Doctor, carry on.
No, I as much as it's kind of like it feels like there's a gun pointed in my direction when the word FIFA is mentioned. Lemming has a very, very good point. It's one of those things. It's especially something like FIFA or something like that. It's a very much hit and run title. It's you get people in the mindset for like this year's or this season's thing. Beyond that, it doesn't quite hold the same kind of physical value to someone. It doesn't quite give the same thing unless you're doing like a retro or like game stake.
I hold no ill will to the people who enjoy sport games. Games, but that market value is shockingly bad. My whole point being, games depreciate in value. This has been the market norm since the inception of home gaming.
Yeah, they do depreciate in value considerably.
When you buy it full, or you wait a bit, and then it'll drop in price.
I think games have been kind of spoiled by Steam sales.
A little bit, yeah. I do think games do depreciate in value a bit too quickly, and that has that's its own problem. But I don't think we should be, like I say, Days Gone was a risk. Any new property that you have to invest in, you've got to shove a lot of marketing in that to make people want and interested in buying it. And it didn't happen with Days Gone. And I know this because for research purposes, I actually played Days Gone up until leading up to this podcast. I got it free on PlayStation Plus. I will say that I got it free on PlayStation Plus. I actually played it. And you know what? It's quite a good game. It's a solid game. It's a solid zombie, apocalypse game. It's an open world zombie game. Very good game. But that just proves to me, the marketing didn't sell me. Is
it one of those AA games where it's just like, this is a good game that is good to play, but not really stupendous or anything?
I mean, I've not got far enough to kind of give it I would say it's probably edging towards the AAA quality. It's got AAA production values, of course, but it's more of the case that a game lives and dies on its reputation. I mean, let's put it this way: Cyberpunk's kind of the opposite direction, where it had so much hype around it, yet when it came out, it was full of bugs, which, for better or worse, I know people like Bird really enjoy it. I personally am waiting for things to progress on that. I've got other games to deal with as well. And yes, Jeffrey says, a game lives and dies on its marketing. Especially, I mean, if it's a sequel, people are going to buy The Last of Us 2. People are going to buy Metal Gear Solid 2. If it's a new property, that's when that's when it's a risk, because you don't know what to expect.
Yes.
And overhype and a bad launch can kill a game.
Yes.
Because there are people actually playing it, but No Man's Sky might as well be dead.
Yeah, which is a shame, because it's actually quite good now, actually.
That's the tragedy, though, isn't it? You forever get that dirt attached to your name because that was your first impression.
Yeah, and look at the basically dead on arrival, going back to our previous subject of Marvel, the Avengers game.
We're on the same wavelength, Fleming. I was about to mention that myself.
It's like, who is actually playing that now? Not very many people.
Well,
And
not
they make
me.
it right harder because why?
Yeah, I'm gonna say I would be interested, but you tell me that it's by here it's grindy and it's that and that's about it. And I'm like, great. The one thing I don't want to do is grind. So thank you very much. I'm not interested.
If you're openly saying it's grindy because you're expecting me to go in every day and do stuff, and then you make one of my personal favorite characters, Spider-Man, a console exclusive.
That was
Oh
it,
yes,
though.
yes.
Like, how was that sensible? How is that supposed to garner sales amongst all platforms by giving Sony the exclusivity of a universally beloved character?
It's like they looked at Anthem and said, "Oh yeah, we can see all the terrible decisions you're making. Let's do them and worse."
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a discussion for like live services and games because
Live service.
that's the problem. It's not enough for a game for you to play a game for 16 hours and you to finish it and be good. They want you to keep playing that game. Yep. They want you to keep playing. They want you to keep engaging, which translation is keep paying.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, and that's.
I mean, if
I see.
I will allow that style of gameplay in free games.
Well, yeah, okay, free games, fair enough. I mean, it bugs me that Todd Howard is upset people are still playing Skyrim to this day. It's like, why does that bug you? You've made a game that is 10 years later, people are still playing and enjoying.
It's because you can't get mods out of it.
It's because he can't get money out of it. That's why.
Yeah.
Money.
They don't just want all your money. They want all your time too.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, games like World of Tanks are free to begin with, but take a lot of grind to progress in.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'll allow.
It's free.
I didn't pay for it. I paid for the tank.
Yeah. That's your investment.
Yeah, that's my investment. That's me going, I've enjoyed your game thus far. Here's some money. Give me the special thing.
and this is the two ways to market games. It's the do you market it in such a way as like here's a amount of money up front to play it, then payable DLCs, etc., or is it here's a free to play game with the option to buy into stuff if you want to.
Yeah.
And it's the two ways of looking at the same coin. Are you get more money out of saying here's a £40 title and then potentially like small little incremental things here and there, or say it's a free to play and go splash out like Lemming on a £40 tank.
Yeah.
I mean that's your choice. I mean, moving on, it's linked to Days Gone. The Last of Us is getting a remake instead of Days Gone 2, apparently.
I might play it.
How old is the first Last of Us?
That's a fantastic question, Shadow. I'm glad you asked me. The Last of Us. The Last of Us.
The boy's done his research.
Was released. The boy's not done his research. In fact, it was 2013 is when that game was released. So 8 years.
And for what platforms, my friend?
PlayStation 3, and then it was released for PlayStation 4. I mean, it was at the end of the PlayStation 3's lifespan, and then released on PlayStation 4.
Okay, so it's not impossible to get hold of then.
No,
no.
I've got a copy. You could buy a copy of The Last of Us Remastered on PlayStation 4.
Yeah,
I think
so
I have a
why
copy.
why are we doing another remaster then?
Exactly my question. You've asked the question.
The reason why they need, I would want them to do a remaster is if they then ported that remaster to PC.
I mean, yeah, that would be interesting. But
That's why I was asking all those questions.
Okay, clarification, but it's not a remake. It's a remaster, which is basically just making things shinier on PlayStation 4. But this is actually a proper remake, apparently. Yes.
Are they going to improve the controls?
Apparently. Yes, Drifting. Last of Us is 8 years old as of now. And yeah, that's I feel old as well. I feel the ravages of time just eating away at my skin as I say that. And I remember it because I picked it up on PlayStation 3, barely played it, and then picked it up on PlayStation 4 when the remastered version came out. But I just like, why do we need it? It's not an old game. I mean, it was 20 years old. I mean, Metal Gear Solid is apparently going to get a remake, supposedly, if the rumors to be true. That's a game from 1998. I can honestly see why that's getting a remake.
Exactly. That needs a remake almost.
But
Command and Conquer got its remaster.
Yeah, but we've just had The Last of Us 2 release. Why are we doing The Last of Us 1 remake? Why are we not
Because
For milking the money.
Yeah. It just doesn't. Just don't get it. I just don't get it.
This is kind of, but it also gets the same sort of kind of thing of Kingdom Hearts. You know, one was it PS2?
Oh, good. Great.
Oh god. Don't go into Kingdom Hearts. They were all over the place.
They were all. If there's a
the
console,
only
there's probably a. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in the depths, Tetsuya Nomura has a NES version of Kingdom Hearts somewhere that he made for his own personal
mobile,
consumption.
wasn't there?
There was a mobile one, yes.
There was one.
There were two mobile games.
Chains of Memories was on GBA. I'm pretty sure. I know there was one. I think either the first one or the second one was on PS2, and
Both were on PS2.
Yeah.
No, not GameCube. It was PlayStation 2 for 1 and 2. Chain of Memories, which is between those two games, was on Game Boy Advance. But then there was Coded, which is on phones, which is so after the events.
And there was one for the DS.
Then there was Dream Drop Distance, which is there was 358 over 2 days,
and a half,
which is on DS, and there was Dream Drop Distance on 3DS, and then of course there was Birth by Sleep on the PSP. It's all over the fucking place, to the point where I'm so glad they released the collection. It's like, do you know what? Just here's all of them on modern consoles. Just here you go.
That's where I was going, because that makes more sense, because the original ones are on consoles, say like the PS2, that obviously say way out of print at this point. If you're following it from PlayStation standpoint, which is where I'm going with this, chance of being able to get your hand on some of the older ones are now sort of like that. It makes sense to suddenly go, well, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, shunk, remaster.
Makes sense. I mean, also to answer your question, Drifting, it's more that Todd has a problem that he can't charge you for constantly playing Skyrim. Basically, I think if Todd Howard had it his way, you would pay £20 every time you clicked new game on Skyrim. But that's just my own aspersions there. Kingdom Hearts, weird.
Want more money? Who thought it?
Yeah, who thought it? Yeah, that's more his issue. Is that people are still playing the game and enjoying it, yet not paying for more time. It's a case that yeah.
Also, it bears noting that you haven't released a game of better quality since, so people keep playing that one.
Maybe it should be telling something. So there's that. So it's a sad thing. I don't get why we're getting a Last of Us remake. We don't need it. Why are you doing that instead of doing Days Gone 2? I can see why, because Days Gone 1 wasn't a success. But then why not do something else rather than Last of Us remake?
Hey guys, name a game that you'd really love remastered. Go.
Ape Escape.
Well, I mean, I already got my Command and Conquer. I don't know.
I just want to see my Dungeon Master. Dungeon Master. What? I just want to see my Dungeon Keeper come back. I just want to see my Dungeon Keeper come back.
And what about yourself, Doctor? What about you?
I'm not sure I can answer that now.
FIFA 99.
No, definitely. No. It's a interesting thing you say, remaster or whatever, but I still have a sort of kind of like love affair for the original Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh
yes.
Yes. When a series starts here and then goes.
That's fine. Planet Coaster took that slide into a roller coaster up, so that's fine.
Hey, put you back on that roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know why I'm surprised.
With beloved classic games, if the main developer screws up, you can always plan on an indie dev showing the bingo.
Yep, City Skylines.
They make it the almost exact same game,
but better.
But with enough tweaks to say, this isn't that game. It's better. Fuck you, EA.
Hope you like traffic management, though, because boy, howdy.
Very quickly.
No traffic, no public transport.
Very quickly, touching on it, Ant Dude predicted the future with Pac-Man 99.
Yeah, Mario died and Pac-Man lived in his place.
Yeah, that's a weird timeline.
Long live the king.
Hang on. If Pac-Man is there, is Mario one of the ghosts?
Yes, he must be. By logic, he must
Oh
be.
no.
Mario is trapped inside Pac-Man as one of the ghosts. That's what it is.
That's horrifying.
That is horrifying. That's a horrifying end. Speaking of
And
Mario, another kind of
ghost-busting backpack.
tangent in, segue into a super update for Super Mario Party. A Super Mario Party
Yes.
can now play online 2 years after its release.
Yay!
Yay! Why
So
was
it's
it was
not
about-
fair of basically everyone, but also a why did you take so long?
basically
Yeah, that feels like
go on,
that
Doctor.
feels like a story that was like 2 years too late.
Yeah, basically that's what it is. It's a case of, great, thank you. Why wasn't this out 2 years ago? We could have.
Sounds like Nintendo. It sounds like Nintendo
Yeah.
and online stuff as usual.
We've been in lockdown for a year, Nintendo. We're about to come out of it. I'm glad you're finally getting the memo, but we could have done with this 2 years ago, a year ago, let alone 2 years
Yeah, but
ago.
we've had Animal Crossing. It'll be fine.
Oh, good point. Animal Crossing. I know. It's just once again, Nintendo just shows how backward they are in terms of like online is nothing we do.
What's
Great.
an online? What is cloud gaming?
The only online they ever care about is the where you can buy stuff from them from.
Nintendo, oh shit, lockdown, public. Hun, you're kind of late.
Yeah. Oh, sweet baby.
Nintendo's the new Microsoft Internet Explorer meme.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So,
Oh, we're gonna go there, are we?
Oh god.
That poor Microsoft, that poor Internet Explorer is doing its best.
yeah, downloading Chrome.
Uh, it's funny because it's true. It reminds me of the
download Firefox. So
It reminds me of if you guys have not seen this, I highly recommend it. It's College Humor Video. It's if Google was a guy. Great video. At the end of the first one, they've got like an office where there's no queue and the door's open, and there's some guy leaning on the desk saying, "Come on, everyone, it's open, it's great." And the desk says "Bing" on it. It's like soon they'll come soon.
Please rip.
To be a good browser. But
They just try, but they can't.
The only time I ever use Internet Explorer is for my work stuff because that's the only thing that some programs will work with.
hell, one of the only good things
I work in the NHS. Hi.
one of the only good things about my office is their machines use Chrome.
I wish we did.
We can't.
The penultimate news, which I want to address before quickly getting on to the final news, is Activision Blizzard CEO takes a pay cut while Toys
Pay
for
cut.
Bob lose their toys. Well, effectively, Toys for Bob are put on new projects, aka Call of Duty Warzone,
Like everybody else.
like everyone else.
Meaning that every single one of Activision's development studios are now working on Call of Duty.
You know,
again.
why don't Activision just come out and say, you know what, we just make Call of Duty? Yeah.
Yeah, we keep like WoW running on the side, but it's Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So you're making Toys for Bob make Call of Duty shooters.
They made a really great Crash game. They made the remasters for Spyro.
Yes.
I
I
was-
thought we were going to get so much more good Spyro stuff. I had hope. Damn it.
I had hope for a Spyro 4 that wasn't Enter the Dragonfly, but no.
And even further back than that, I still have the disc somewhere with the demo on it of Pandemonium,
Oh goodness gracious me!
the game they released in 1998.
You were going to say, Doctor?
No, it's 96. Sorry.
You say Toys for Bob. For me, it's Skylanders. I'm going to go there.
Oh, Skyline.
Yeah,
I mean, to be
Bob,
fair,
I-
it's
yeah,
still.
Yeah.
I love the technology that they put into those portals over time. It's just like, how the heck? Yeah, you see that like the generations go on. You think, geez,
I'm
the
so
amount of
sore.
technology and stuff they put into that.
I am so sore about that because I wasn't a big fan of Skylanders, but I love the whole Toys to Life thing, and Lego came in right at the tail end of that, and so that whole thing failed. I was like, if there's ever a product that was made for that business model, it's Lego, and it failed because it was literally at the end of that boom.
Yeah.
Oh well. I can live. I can dream. So yeah, Shadow, do you want to talk about how this pay cut isn't really a pay cut, please?
It's not really a pay cut because he's still got like. I think you did more research on this than me, to be quite frank.
Basically, he's still eligible for bonuses. He's still eligible for all the other things that he normally gets. He's still the most overpaid CEO within the entire industry, considered to be.
Well, yeah. Also, if you look at how much he was paid, his pay was cut. Like it was like 718,000 pounds, and even if all of us four here like pulled our entire yearly salaries together, we wouldn't even get in a sniffing distance of that.
Nope.
It's just obscene amounts of money.
It takes
Supposedly 50%.
Yeah.
So what he's earning in like the full amount is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, Bobby, mate, got a guy here, right? You're an executive. Well done. Brilliant. Your net worth is $600 million. Let other people earn the money.
You've won capitalism. Congrats. We name a park after you. Now stop. Just stop.
You're like, fund a hospital.
Yeah. The final thing I want to touch on is a topic which is about today, and it's the final piece of news, and I think it bears ranking for this. Ladies and gentlemen, in the blue corner, we have, weighing at a gross value of 17.3 billion, it is Epic Games. And in the red corner, with a net value of $2 trillion US, it is the bite you don't want to make. It is Apple.
If
It's
there
crowd
space comes up, I think you've got that sorted.
The battle of the CEOs continues, or I should say, the battle which no one wants anyone to win because they're both arseholes in the situation. We've discussed this before. Epic are making it seem like we're giving you choice when really they're taking choices away so that your choice becomes to give them money. Whereas Apple are like saying, no, we want you to give us the money instead, and then we'll trickle it down like everyone does on our platform.
Yeah, that's how the platform works.
Yeah.
It's like they were like, you broke our terms of services, so pay up. And Epic's like, yeah,
But why? But why? Yeah, but why? But why? We like money.
Didn't do that though.
Yeah.
Staying at somebody's house, eating their food, and then asking them why you want them to leave.
Yeah, we have children on our side, guys.
And that's what upsets me is that Epic. I mentioned this last time on the podcast. We mentioned this. It's the whole thing about it is that Epic have it as like, oh, it's this big thing, noble thing we're doing, and it's about, no, guys, you just want a way of getting more money in your pockets, and you're dressing it up as player choice, and that dishonesty is what I hate more than anything else.
Yeah, and please stop you.
You have fucked over every player on the Apple platform just so you can try and make a gamble to get more money.
Welcome back, Jenna.
And also, you're using gamers as a big thing. Just like, well, gamers what? Like, no, I don't. Fuck you.
No, I just want to play the game. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, I don't even like you.
No.
Why are you in my house?
Like, this has made me swear off Epic Games. Like, I want to play the Gears of War games. I played Gears 4 eventually. I'm not going to bother with Gears 5 and 6 when it comes out.
Yeah.
Because, frankly, fuck you.
Well, that kind of covers that, because apparently there was an issue where the court accidentally opens the dial-in line to all speakers.
Yeah, they made a conference call to today's deals, but unfortunately made it public.
Guess how well that went?
Yeah, it didn't go too well.
All the Fortnite kids entered the chat line and started screaming at the court. So you had hundreds
Boy.
of the call, and they had to mute all of them because they had to do official court business.
Yeah.
With kids, kids and
To be fair,
over the top idiots.
to be fair,
I've got a quote here of, "I would suck all of you to get Fortnite Mobile back," said
Charming.
one voice.
charming.
Like, well done. Yeah, you're an adult. Well done.
So one
Yeah,
thing,
but
this
think about this. These are kiddos.
these
some
are
of them.
kids. I don't get it, but that's I'm just old.
Yeah,
Who cares?
but I'm less about that, and I'm more kind of like, holy shit, these are children, and they're being used as missiles in this legal fight.
Exactly. This is abuse of kids.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
It is horrifying, and also just as I mentioned, as we've mentioned before, Epic and Apple, they're both arseholes in the situation. Don't give either of them your support.
They've both already got all of the money. This isn't a war we need to fight. Let them go to court. Let them have their own battle.
Let them
lose.
let them both spend a lot of money over nothing.
Yeah, basically take them both and go, yeet.
Accurate, yeah.
Accurate. Right.
Well, let's just hope this doesn't end up in epic proportions.
Oh, we did it again.
You realise how I've been trying to not do it, but it's in the back of my brain. I mean,
You're in the core of this problem.
Me?
Okay. Right.
I'm thinking an apple joke. Sorry.
So there's two topics we want to discuss tonight in the next half an hour. I don't think we're going to get time to get to all of them. Which is we've got lost progression from Doctor about roguelike games, lore from other sources with Shadow. However, I also think it's quite right that we tackle Drifting Light's question from earlier, the remakes of classics being a newest valid solution. Which one do we want to tackle? Do you want to tackle Drifting? Do we want to?
I think we
do we
should
want to focus on that and do the other things next time, or what do we want to do?
Mine can be pushed back because I'm always here. So
Yeah. Doctor.
I think we should do. I should do. Oh, sorry, Doctor, go ahead.
Mine could be saved because I need to find out some more information about it.
Yeah.
So I've heard that from a third-person source, so
Okay.
I need to
Yeah,
understand more a bit about it before I fully disclose it. It's just kind of like something that may have cropped up, but I'd rather go on the whole drifting thing.
All right.
Yeah,
so
shall we do Driftings first, and then if there's time, we could do mine.
I agree. Let's open it. I think this will actually cover most of the night, but we'll see. Remakes and remasters. No, just remakes. We mentioned Drifting. Remakes, a solution. There we go. So yeah, we're gonna tackle your actual topic that you mentioned to us, Drifting. Which our first ever viewer topic. Nice.
Nice.
Right. So yeah. So for anyone who wasn't here earlier in the stream, what it was is we were talking about the preservation of video games and how in a long time, in 20 years, games that you play today, you may not be able to play them at all. And today we think about games from 20 years ago today. And Drifting posed the question, remakes, are they a solution to the problem? I'm going to open it to the floor.
It depends on how much of a remake they are. Because it'll be a new development team a lot of the time. It'll be people who didn't work on it. The guy leading it might have worked on the original, but the majority of the people building the mechanics and the artwork of the game will not have been people who originally made it. They'll probably have played it. They'll probably be a passion project for them. But at the same time, all these new developers will be attempting to put their own interpretation into the game.
Yes.
Yeah, I have something about that. Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Yeah.
Bingo. Yeah, that's one of the prime examples of how you can do it badly.
Yes, and also the main problem with this, which these guys have seen me shout and scream and throw my dolly out as I lost my original Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos CD key. This is very important because the thing about with Warcraft 3 Reforged is that it overwrites. If you had Warcraft 3, the original one, with Frozen Throne in it as well, it would overwrite it completely. You cannot go back.
Bye bye.
So I don't have Reforged, but I do have the original 3, the original game and the expansion. And I was like, score! I can actually play this game, and I can actually play the original. Of course, I've lost the CD key now, but
yeah.
now this puts this, as you can see, there's a huge dilemma that we've essentially lost this game now.
Mm-hmm.
And
But,
that's why I see that, and I'm a little bit whoa.
so what are we
Yes
gonna
and
do
no,
here?
in a way. Because
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
fighting this can happen.
A complete remake, like I say, there will be new interpretations of it. So if you remake something, you'll not get the same experience.
Mm-hmm.
99% of the time, you will not have the same experience playing a remake of a game than you will a remaster of the original.
Yes. It's also the same for the. Oh, sorry.
No, please go on.
I was going to say it's not. It's also a similar problem with the Age of Empires HD, the Age of Empires 2 HD edition, and the Age of Empires
Definitive edition.
1, 2, and 3 definitive editions. Yes, as they are boosted up to like computer quality and can run on normal systems now. But are they the same games though? You could argue they're not because of all the back stuff that's had to be done. Stuff has to be done in the back, and also all the new expansions have been put out, as well as balancing. Because I remember Kat speaking in our Discord that some missions have become much harder or nearly impossible to beat because of unit balancing that's just thrown it off completely.
Yeah.
Because
they tweak things to make them more balanced when the game worked on that imbalance.
Yeah, and you have to remember that back when Age of Empires 2 was popular, like multiplayer didn't work like completely online. You didn't get the patches that we used to have nowadays. So once you got the game, that was pretty much the game.
Yeah.
There would only be balance resets once you got an expansion pack, which were rare, few and far between. I mean, the expansion pack for Age of Empires 2, The Conquerors, that was it. That was the single expansion pack. So it's not. So it's kind of like they're not the same games, but I can see.
Burr actually made a point because he's using the term remake and remaster interchangeably, and I actually think that you raise a good point, Shadow, because Age of Empires 2 and Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, or sorry, Age of Empires 2 HD, Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition.
That's why I had to be very careful.
At what point does it switch and become too much? At what point does a remaster become a remake?
Yeah, what's the difference between a HD edition, a remaster, and a remake?
Yes.
I mean, I think the line between that is a remake is literally that they were made from the ground up from scratch. So in my more recent want to put up in front of you all is the Command & Conquer Remastered Collection.
Yes, I've played this as
well. Command & Conquer Red Alert were remastered, and unlike what was done with the Age of Empires re-releases, was they went, no balance changes. Everything is as is because that's how people remember them.
Yes.
They even have a few bugs in the game, such as the classic AI bug that they don't recognize walls as being an object. So you can block off the AI just by building walls.
Oh, yes. I remember you talking about this.
They specifically did not write that out of the game, even though they are fully aware that it existed and it is a bug.
Mm-hmm.
They left it because it was how the game was balanced.
I'm going to raise my own version of this. Resident Evil 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very new to the world of Resident Evil. I'm not a very big fan of horror as a genre, but I decided to try my hand at Resident Evil 2 Remake a couple of years ago. And I actually surprisingly found out I loved it. And to the point that I played Resident Evil 3 when that came out. Both Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 Remake are very different from their original games. 3 more so from its original source material. To the point where they are remakes. They're not remasters, they are remakes. They are definitively remakes from the ground up. Whereas they're perspective based in the originals, these are over the shoulder shooter style controls, but with the original horror like elements, so it's not like a shooter.
No.
Very good games, very great game. In fact, I love the remakes for that reason. However, and I think the key thing which Bear pointed out is the remake / remaster should never supersede a version. If anything, a remaster should be more like a shiny version of the original that's just elevated so you can play it on modern systems.
Yeah.
A remake should be something brand new, but it shouldn't replace the old.
Yeah, it should be like a reinterpretation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It should have all the similar notes that you will remember, but it should hit you in a different way.
If I
Yes.
wanted to go and buy Resident Evil 2 and 3, the originals, I could do that on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
I could still get them for now. And that should and that's how it should be. I should be able to like, okay, I like the remakes, but I want to see what the original was like. And and the reason for that is because of preservation, history. They are historical things that need to be protected. And that's why you need to make sure that, to be fair, Brazen makes a good point. The Assassin's Creed remaster has been horrible. And I can't speak, I've not played them, so I don't know. I know I've fond experiences. But it's important that at least an element of the games be preserved and as close to their original version. And also the remasters even should be preserved as well. Best thing to do is the original's there for historical purposes, for historical restoration. The remasters are there so that people today can play them.
Yeah.
Rather than have to pull out a PlayStation 1 or whatever.
Yeah, it's like getting rid of the original Mona Lisa and just putting a replica up in a museum. It's just like, no, we need the original fucking Mona Lisa, you fool. Even though it could be a perfect replica, but we need the original one.
The whole point is that is the original. That was hand painted by the original artist. That's why it's important.
Yes.
But if you want to experience it, buy our copy from the gift shop. You know.
Yeah, that's fine. But the thing is, it's what game companies are doing is, well, for Warcraft, for Reforged, it was basically like, here's our
replica.
Here's our shitty replica. We also burned the original.
Yeah, we burned the old one out back. Sorry.
Yeah. You can search through the ashes if you wish. Whoops, a daisy! I just kicked.
You might find part of the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and the thing is, these sorts of reinterpretations aren't new because looking back at Westwood Studios, the people who made the original Command & Conquer games, then got bought out by EA when they got big, all that, long history, back when they were with Virgin Games and all that stuff. They made Dune 2. That is a game that they personally have maintained. You can still play it because they made a website that you can play it on. The original Dune 2.
I can't remember what game it was, but I remember there was a game several years ago where if you bought the remaster remake, you actually got the original for free.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
But
what my main point that I'm getting to, though, is while that version is still available and still playable, you can find it on your browser and play it right now. They also, later on in life, after they'd released a couple of Command & Conquer games, they went back and made Dune 2000, which is basically a ground-up remake of Dune 2, but with new balancing and new structures and new stuff. A new interpretation of doing the same original concept.
And this is why re-releases are important, I think. And again, I will go back again because I think it's important to reference this. It's a great example, is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. If you want to get a copy of that game and play it on original hardware, you need a PlayStation, an original PlayStation 1. And if you want to get a copy of Symphony of the Night, that thing's going to cost you £500. That's not even brand new. That's going to cost you £500 for a copy of Symphony of the Night. It is that rare of a game.
It was not. It was limited run.
Limited run because it was a 2D game in a 3D era, so people just kind of looked over it. It's become a hidden gem.
Yeah.
You could buy it as part of the Castlevania Requiem collection for £20, and you get Rondo of Blood, which is the other rare Castlevania game with it, which was never released outside Japan. And that's nice because it allows collectors can still have their thing to collect, but people who actually want to experience that bit of history and because they didn't get a chance to can purchase that collection because they don't care if they've got a physical copy or whatever. And it's like, okay, I can now play this. I can now play this and enjoy it.
And a close to the heart idea of this for me was Sonic the Hedgehog. I grew up with Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Mega Drive, or Genesis, depending on where you are, and I still adore those games. But I didn't have all the money, so I didn't get a Master System. I didn't get a Sega CD. I had my Mega Drive until I got my PlayStation years later. But then I had a PlayStation 2, and they brought out the Sonic Mega Collection, which had all of the main Sonic games on it. And I played the living hell out of it. I played to the point where I unlocked every little side unlockable gallery item in that game. And then I discovered that they released the Gems Collection, which had all the games on that I'd never got to play, such as Sonic CD with its epic intro.
Yes, I mean, let's bring up more examples. Because again, it's a case of remake versus remaster. Spyro Reignited Trilogy and the Insane Trilogy for Crash Bandicoot. They basically are the original games, just shinier.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. There's a couple of things, like they introduced time trials that weren't in the original to the original. But I still think it should be a case that you should still be able to access the original, I mean, in some way. You should never just say, okay, this is the... You could say this is the definitive version. In fact, what I like most about the Blizzard collection they have released recently, which has Lost Vikings, is they offer both the SNES and the Genesis version of Lost Vikings 2, and what they call the Definitive Edition, which is the combined elements from both games that made both games great, meshed together in one conducive game with the best of both.
Would have been nice to have that for Reforged.
Yeah, wouldn't it have been nice?
Wouldn't it be?
Wouldn't it? Oh, damn it.
But again, you can't buy these games, and those games on my shelf, those ones back there, you guys can see here. Those are my PlayStation 3 games, and my DS and 3DS games, and they're not making those anymore. And eventually there'll come a time where someone might say, I want to try, Infamous. Infamous, great game from the PlayStation 3 era. And someone's like, well, if you want that, you have to get a PlayStation 3. Like,
Shall I get the games to illustrate my point? The Armies of Exego one. I have it in the...
Yeah, sure. Go.
I will be right back.
And someone said, I want to play Infamous. Someone's going to come to me and say, I want to play Infamous. How do I play that? It's like, well, you need a PlayStation 3. That's going to cost you about, they're not being made anymore. So it means finding one that's in working order. So that's probably going to be about a couple of £100. Then you've got to find a copy of the game. That's probably going to be another £100 or so, because it's quite popular at that time. At that point, they're going to spend £200 or £300 just to play one game. They're not going to do that.
They're really not, no.
Yeah. No, it's also a thing as well as that, you get back to the whole preservation of consoles again. That's, it's not just the fact of finding one, it's finding one that works is a crucial point.
Yeah.
So this is Armies of Exego.
Yeah.
This is not a super popular game because it's technically a failed EA title. And I wanted to play it a couple of weeks ago. I have everything. I have the original disc. There is the second and third discs back in there. I've got the manual. I'll show you the CD key because there's the CD key right there. So I have everything. I've even got the tech tree right here.
Wow.
I have everything. And it's not a great game. It's not like a super popular game. I'm not very good at it. But I wanted to play it. Can't. It doesn't work on modern machines anymore. Just completely gone.
Hello.
But the thing is...
Sorry, we got a Ray coming in from UK with a party of 5.
UK! Hello!
Hello, Jules. How's it going?
Hello!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Scratching Post, although my name's Ebak here at the Common Dense Podcast, as we, Shadow, Lemming, and Doctor and I are discussing various topics. Right now, we're talking about remakes, a solution for preservation of gaming, or are they a bigger problem?
The thing is, this won't be played, and the thing is, this ain't popular enough to get a remaster. This also goes for this game, Power World. This is basically an RTS where there are dinosaurs, and doesn't that concept sound like really fucking cool? There are dinosaurs, you can ride them and stuff like that. I haven't tried on this system, but I doubt this will work. So this game's now gone. And also the fairly rare Rise of Nations, Rise of Legends.
I love that game.
Yes, I have it. I have all of its discs as well. Like, it's stuffed in here. But these are games that are not very popular, weren't very popular at the time, and,
You can't play
you
them.
know, are starting to get behind in tech. So we would need remasters in order to catch them up. But who's going to do remasters of them? Who's clamoring for them?
Drifting mentioned about backwards compatibility for consoles, and yes, that's true.
Oh boy, don't get me started.
That's true. That is a great idea, Drifting. And to be fair, PlayStation should be doing it. Xbox are doing it, which is good of them. The problem is you get to Nintendo, because every single console pretty much has a different.
We're back there again.
Yeah, it's like, okay, how many slots will that console need to fit it?
Here's the Game Boy.
We're gonna need a Game Boy Advance slot, a Game Boy slot, a DS slot. We're gonna need a disc
here's-
tray.
Wait a minute. Let's see how many different types.
Because Nintendo are erotic like that and require different medias for every single thing they make.
Yes. I don't think I've got enough. I'll
the
try
one-
and show you as
the
many
one-
cartridges as possible.
It's the one positive thing about a digital.
You've got this cartridge,
That cartridge, yep. That's the one positive thing about digital future. You don't have to worry. Does it have the right slot for it?
I know, right?
That is mainly okay. Drifting says that's mainly a Nintendo problem, though. It is, but it doesn't make it not a problem.
Yeah, it's still a problem.
You might have another problem though. If they're doing like portable hard drives here, say like, say we'll mention one of the things that we're about one of the only 4 current users still using it, the PS Vita.
I've got
with
mine.
its internal. Exactly, I've got mine somewhere. That was a portable hard drive, wasn't it? It was you put it like a memory stick.
Yeah.
You'll have another problem. You'll end up going to try and play the game. I've got it, but on which hard drive?
Bah!
Yeah.
Yeah, and also they completely disappear if something happens to the hard drive.
Yep.
I put sticky notes on my PlayStation 2 memory cards.
And to be fair, Jenna mentions emulation, and I just say emulation is the way. To preserve games and make sure people can play them is emulation. It's just getting the companies on board. And like I said, if they each release their own, like, this is our proprietary emulator for PC, you can download. Here's the ROM store where you can download ROMs legally. We will sell you the ROM.
Okay, so here's the GameCube Mini. Here is a GBA.
We're still on Nintendo.
Game Boy Color. Sorry.
Yes.
Here's the 3DS, and here's the Switch.
That's a very good.
Can you see how much trouble we're in?
That's a very good point,
like,
and that's why.
And that's
why backwards compatibility should be a thing as well. And a company should offer their legacy games on consoles. And I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy task. They should outsource it. It is something which they may not see much money value in.
Nintendo seems to do just fine, though.
Nintendo do fine, but that's because they then say, okay, buy this, otherwise it will go away in 5 months. Yeah,
but Ebert, they've done like the same game on the Wii and the Wii U, and now the Switch. So
that's true,
if they could port across 3 different systems, I think they could do more.
I agree.
Honestly, and it's the same fucking games as well.
Oh, I agree.
Mario Kart, Smash Bros.
Yeah, how many ports has Mario Kart 64 had? Like 3 at least.
Oh my god, you guys just opened the floodgates. You now realize what you've done. What about preserving things like the original Mario Kart?
Oh yeah.
I mean.
Oh yeah. Well, we've had this talk about
sequels and iterations
and
such.
MMOs. What version of an MMO do we preserve?
Yeah.
There's no easy choice in all this, and remakes for the kind of AAA titles are a way of offering the modern people to play something, and over getting a fresh new perspective. But remasters allow new audience members to experience older stuff. However, it shouldn't replace the old. I mean, if anything, you should try and keep it as original as you can, while also allowing it as accessible as you can. So, best thing to do is, if you've got, the original SNES cartridges, they're not going to go anywhere. Collectors are still going to enjoy collecting them. Just allow people to download SNES games on their modern consoles and carry them forward and own them.
Well, the thing is, people will pay money for like emulators for ROMs of these things. Like,
I would pay through the nose to play a lot of these games.
Yeah, exactly.
You can easily make that like a subscription service. You know, you say you pay X amount up front, get your interest, then pay like
add more
a
stuff to
small
Switch
fee.
Online.
You know, and I mean like emulators. We're talking about this whole emulator one. Maybe we should go into a board meeting, Elliot, and see how many of them we could get on board with a scheme.
There's no money in it, man. There's no money in it. They wouldn't do it. That's the sad thing. Because it's all a legality thing. I can say there's a lot of games which I've only experienced the last couple of years that I only played using emulation. To be fair, Nintendo emulate their own games.
Mario Sunshine.
The Mario Sunshine version on the All Stars Collection is an emulated version.
It's not even a good one. It's not even a good one.
That's fine, Drifting. We'll be wrapping up in about 4 minutes' time. We finished at 9:30 anyway, so it's fine. But if you want to go, you head off, Drifting.
Yeah,
because he has to go to bed. In fact, we all have to go to bed. Well, I stay up a bit later, but yeah. But no, I think we've kind of come to the consensus that
he's already in his chair. Look,
remakes and remasters. Well, I'll join him. There we go.
I dislike the both of you.
I am in your same camp here, Shadow, because actually my office chair is a repurposed bar stool.
Oof.
Whew. Although in fairness, fuck the lot of it.
And said the lot of it.
Where's he gone?
Screw you.
But
I'm back.
You're sort of saying that whole thing. It also gets onto the whole kind of like Theme Hospital and 2 Point. Same guys obviously on that.
Spiritual successor.
You got the spiritual successors that you get. You've got. Would you see that as like a
War for the Overworld?
That offers a whole new can of worms. But the thing is, they are different games, and I think
they are different.
It's
they have to be.
Yeah, they have to be. Theme Hospital, nothing can replace Theme Hospital. It's nice to have that as a piece of history. 2 Point exists for like a modern take on it, and that's fine. They both have their place in history, and they both should be preserved through history. And with the reminder that, the Theme Hospital was the original, and this is what inspired it. This is what that's what inspired this game. And so on and so forth. But like how Planet Coaster is the spiritual successor to Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah. War for the Overworld, spiritual successor to Dungeon Keeper 2. Sorry, Lemming.
Yeah, so if you want to play Theme Hospital, go to GOG. It works.
Yeah, exactly. Still there
on GOG.
That's one good. I mean, they might be owned by CD Projekt Red, or CD Projekt, which are currently in a bit of a bad spot with the whole.
I think they were separated, weren't they? By law.
Owned by the same parent company, all things.
True.
But at the end of the day, if you want to pay a fairly cheap price for a classic game that will run on a modern PC, where else can you go?
Yeah, the fact that GOG exists at all is amazing, to be quite frank. There are so many games I'd love to see on there, like Black and White 2 and stuff like that.
I think their forum has a section for requests.
Yes.
That alone says they listen to what people actually want.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is now 9:30. This is our normal stopping point, and I think we've gotten a lot out of today's episode. We've covered a lot of the news. We've made comments about it very densely, and also, and of course, we've gotten to a little topic at the end. Thanks to Drifting about the idea, following on from our last topic of the preservation of video games. Is our remakes a solution? And I think we've come to the conclusion that remakes are, but they don't provide a replacement for the original. They're just a way of getting modern people to experience an older interpretation of the game, or a newer interpretation of that game.
What we really need are ROMs.
The experience of the original, but you can always give somebody the experience of that setting.
Yes.
And with that, I think it's time that we all wrapped up. I want to thank all of you for joining us. Once again, sorry that it's a week late. This month's episode of the Condensed Podcast will happen on its regular scheduled time on the 25th of May. Also, join us tomorrow. We're playing Squadrons tomorrow on Revenge of the 5th.
Revenge of the 5th. We're going to be email, probably.
We so aren't going to be winging it tomorrow.
Hey. And on that note,
hopefully we won't be a shadow of our former selves.
Oh God.
I think that's the one that wins them all.
Jesus Christ. Good night, everyone. My name's Blee, back here at Scratch Post with Scratch the Game Minutes. He's been Doctor, he's been Lemon Rust, and she's been Shadow Phoenix Rider. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
See ya.
Look after yourselves.
Yeah, that.
Hello, everyone in the after show. Just be sure we're going to yeet you all over to Scarf as he's going to be currently playing the Messenger. I'm surprised he's not finished, if I'm honest. But let's, if you want to join us in raiding him, let's see. That will give him a nice surprise. Stick around, everyone, as we're just going to quickly yeet you over to him very shortly. Hop in the raid cannon. Get all together. And yeet. I completely forgot he was streaming tonight. Which is strange, because I've been watching him stream that for the last few weeks. Yeah. Oh, the raid didn't go off or something. Oh, it did go off. Oh, good.